So I'm going to get straight into my book chat now, where I'm going to talk about the books that I have read lately and what I'm reading next. So I've actually been reading quite a lot lately because it's been really cold here. We are going into winter now, so it's been quite rainy too, which is of course the perfect weather to stay home. The first book I'm going to talk about is one that I showed in this video, which is Butter by Asako Yuzuki. I've shown 2 Japanese crime novels in this video, and I'm going to get into the other one after this because I also finished it. This is a book that I have just been seeing everywhere lately, like in a lot of bookstores and also in a few emails I got, because I believe that this author was here for the Melbourne Writers Festival, which is a bit late because it was last month. I kind of regret not reading it earlier. So this book is pretty popular and quite famous. It's a cult Japanese bestseller about a female gourmet cook who is an alleged serial killer, and also about a journalist intent on cracking her case. And it's inspired by a true story, which is really cool. I think this is a cozy crime read. I'm not hugely into crime and thriller books. I keep hearing about cozy crime reads, so I could be incorrect. But for me, this felt kind of like what I would expect something from that genre to be, because there's really no gore or violence in this book at all. So if you went into this expecting it to be a standard crime book, you might be disappointed. It definitely had a cozy kind of feel to it. Maybe it's because I just love Japan. I've traveled there twice now, which I've mentioned before. I really wanted to go this year, but I won't go back till next year. But anyway, I digress. I just found that this kind of reminded me of some of Murakami's books in a way, where it's cozy in the sense that it followed the journalist Rika's daily life in some aspects. And yeah, I don't know, I find that kind of cozy. I thought this was a great book overall. It's very readable, but maybe just a touch too long. Not knowing about the real case, I thought the story was a really interesting concept with the relationship between the 2 women and the effects that they have on each other. I think at the core of this book, it really is about hunger, not just for food, which is mentioned a lot, and reading this book will make you very hungry, the way that the author describes different meals, the things that people are cooking, and there's actually some restaurants that I have bookmarked for my next trip to Japan, but also some recipes that I want to try at home. But I think it's also really about a hunger for connection, the connection between the alleged serial killer Manako and the journalist Rika is central to this book. I do think this book is quite feminist in a way, as it explores the positions of these women in society and how they are perceived. I think that aspect is really under the scope in this book a lot at times. Although the accused serial killer Manako states early in the book that there are 2 things that she simply cannot tolerate: feminists and, of course, margarine, because she loves butter. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Just the length, I think, kind of drew it back a little bit for me at the end. Even though I was really engaged the whole time, I felt like if it was just cut a little bit shorter, it would have been a 5-star read for me. If you're looking for something that's focused on food, has kind of a cozy element, but an interesting crime aspect as well, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. The next book that I'm going to talk about is another Japanese crime novel that I've mentioned, which is called Out, and that is written by Natsuo Kurino. So when I was looking into other Japanese crime novels after I finished Butter, this one just kept popping up. This is a 1997 Japanese crime novel, and it was published in English in 2004. This won the 51st Mystery Writers of Japan Award for Best Novel. It's very famous and it has a lot of praise, so I was really interested to check it out. This is the story of a random act of violence set in the outer Tokyo suburb, and it's about a young mother who commits this brutal crime and then seeks the help of her co-workers to essentially cover up what she's done. This book really is about these women who are young to middle-aged and how much they are struggling financially, and also with the relationships with their families. It's quite grim in that sense. I think the writing is very good, but I was just really loving this, and it was going to be probably at least 4.5-star read for me. But then I got to the last few chapters. What happens at the end was so awful and confusing in a way. It was just too much for me. So fortunately, I ended up lowering my rating to 3.5 out of 5. The ending, obviously, I'm not going to go into if you haven't read this book yet. I understand there was some meaning behind what happens, but I just really hated it, unfortunately. Loved the rest of the book. I loved all the characters. They all had so many flaws and they were really realistic in that sense. And yeah, learning about their lives and the struggles they went through, I really felt for them. Pretty wild, involving this crime that's committed. But if it didn't take this incredibly horrible twist at the end, I would have liked it a lot more. I don't think this has ever happened to me before with a book, so I was disappointed coming out of it, even though I really enjoyed 80 to 85% of this. I would like to kind of look into more why the author decided to go this route, but despite this shocking ending, I have also bought Grotesque by the same author, which also has a lot of praise, and I've also heard that it's really good. I will read that one soon. I would say if you are intrigued to read this book, please check out the trigger warnings before you do if you have some concerns around some dark topics that come up in this book. I found it was pretty uncomfortable to read, so definitely worth checking those out before you dive into this book. I think this is still a great book despite how much I hated the ending, and I would recommend it, but of course not to everyone. So just going back to other books that I've mentioned in my previous book chats, I am still reading Dante's Divine Comedy Part 1 Hell, the Inferno. I am nearly done. My goal was to have finished it by the time I made it to this video. I was just getting really stuck with annotating, so I've just decided to scrap that altogether because it's really slowing me down and I'm finding it kind of frustrating, and this obviously isn't the easiest read in the world. I will save my annotation for other books I've read before, I think, going forward, as I simply don't know if I can do it with new books where I just want to read them as quickly as I can. I am thinking to read The Secret History soon, which I've mentioned in my video with the books that I like to read every year, and I haven't read that one yet, and I think that would be a really good one to annotate. And I've seen other people do it and it looks really nice. Obviously, I won't go into this too much yet until I've finished reading it. What I found the most interesting so far is, well, how easy it is for people to go to hell dependent on your sins in life. And in relation to that, the different circles or levels of hell and what Dante considers to be the very worst acts of sin. I know that's really in relation to his life and the things he experienced with being exiled from Florence. So he really considers people who betray to be really at the deepest inner circles of hell. But anyway, I'm really loving this and I'm going to get into it more when I finished it. Another book I mentioned in my previous video that I've started, The Gilda Stories by Jewel Gomez. I found the start of this just a little slow. I read the first chapter. I really like that it's set in Louisiana in the 1850s. It's kind of got that Anne Rice kind of vibe in some ways with the setting, but I got distracted by butter and out. So, and being such an impulsive reader, I did kind of just leave this one for the minute, but I do really want to pick this up again this weekend and get more into it. I really hope to finish this soon because I think I will really enjoy this one by the end of it. I have also started reading another book, which is Gothic Town by Emily Carpenter. This is quite a new book. This is about a woman who is lured by some pandemic era incentives to move her family to a seemingly idyllic small town in Georgia, only to discover there's a kind of dark atmosphere. I'm going into this pretty blind. I think I've mentioned before, that's pretty much all I want to know about a book when I'm going in is just, a sentence or two. I don't like to know a lot of things when I'm going into books because I like to be surprised by the plot and not have any preconceived notions about any other details. I really like that this is set in the South again. I find those Southern Gothic kind of books really interesting, and I love books with a small town mystery kind of vibe as well. So I started this last night. I've only read one chapter, but so far I quite like it. So we'll see how this one goes. But that pretty much wraps up my book chat for this video. I am trying to read as many books as possible, so hopefully in the next one I'm going to have even more books to talk about. Thank you so much for watching this, and thank you to my Patreon members for supporting me as always. I will see you in the next video. Bye.